is Joseph P. Buchanan. I'm from the south side of the city. And I would like to tell you Teaparty members, I don't see a person of color in there. I would also like to tell you that you don't know what goes on in our community. This whole consortium is for some good people, mixed people, black, whites, Hispanics. You people, I know nothing about. And you want to come in the last minute and try to tell us that our plan is flawed. Or maybe your plan is flawed for you being so damn lazy, not coming to all these meetings that you're supposed to come at. Have you ever thought of that? You guys weren't so lazy and want to wait till the last minute to shift what we have planned for the past year and a half. Maybe this wouldn't be like this. I think our plan is a great plan. I feel we describe some of our people, which are people of color, which are poor people, that you guys don't like, because it might affect some of the things that you're doing, like taking a little bit of money away from y'all. You don't like that. Or moving to your neighborhood. You don't like that.
Joe, could I ask you just keep your comments to the plan and not
That's the plan.
Not get into
That's the plan.
I would ask that
you didn't tell him that?
Well,
all right,
I'm asking
no. You tell them Ku Klux Klan that.
I'm Joe, that's really uncalled
for. It is interesting that you push for a process to have a certain timeline, and then when you don't like the results, you try to change that timeline. That's very telling. What I do want to say to the rest of the folks is a couple of us are here as a subcommittee of this group called the Social Equity Advisory Committee. And we've been pushing for marginalized communities to have a voice in this plan. And it hasn't happened to our satisfaction to yet. So it's actually, I'm actually sort of happy that there is sort of this reaction happening, because it seems like, well, maybe there is something more in this plan than there has been in the past when it comes to addressing the concerns of marginalized communities in Rhode Island. Because if this is the reaction it's getting, then it means that maybe it's different than what's happened in the past. So to me, that makes me feel a little bit better, because I felt like it doesn't do enough, right? It does do a lot of talking about social equity, but when it, as the gentleman pointed out, it doesn't actually lay out a lot of interventions that are actually going to do something about the disparities that exist. The reason this is even an issue is because when you look at the different indicators when it comes to low-income folks of color and the rest of the folks in this state, you see that they're behind on everything. And it's not because, some of you may be racist and think it's because of their race, but we feel it's because of systemic systems that exist that keep these things happening, and they need to be addressed. And this is an economic, this is important for the economy, for how the worst of us do in the state, we're all tied together. It's important for everybody. And so that's why it has somewhat of a focus on equity, but it doesn't go far enough. And for you all to sort of say, well, you didn't have a voice in it, traditionally, communities of color have never had a voice in these plans. We've looked at the demographics of who's weighed in on this at every step of the way, and it's been mostly white people, older, and wealthy people, and wealthy. Like 90-something% of the folks that weighed in on this plan are, and they have their best interest in mind. And their colleagues and their friends and their families, they have their best interest in mind. And we feel like that's been a lopsided input into this plan. That we wanted to have, what the state reflects as a population to be weighing in this plan, but that hasn't happened. It's been mostly the same people. I'm glad that it scares some of you into thinking, maybe you're thinking, well, this means that we're going to have some people of color in our town, right? I wish it went that far. I wish it went that far. Right? Maybe some of you are thinking,
that's not it.
The government's going to come and take your rights.
Talk about bigotry.
You think that the government's going to come and take your rights away because you can't be the racist you want to be? That's crazy.
All right, that's enough.
I'm tired of the allegations from you people. There's no proof that we're racist or whatever you think we are. It's not true.
It has to do
This is
with
ridiculous.
the people of the state having the right to know about the whole thing.
You've had your chance, ma'am.
That's it. You cannot call people racist every time they don't agree.
Or was economic.
Okay, my name is Steve Fishbeck. I'm a lawyer at Rhode Island Legal Services. I'm a member of this governing consortium and also a member of the Social Equity Advisory Committee. I've listened to what you've had to say, and I am not at all convinced that we need to delay. You did not point to any aspects of the plan that required further study. There was, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, ma'am, but you made a reference to the Westchester plan. Now that is very telling to me, because the Westchester plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, has to do with a lawsuit involving HUD, not brought by HUD, but involving HUD, brought by a fair housing group in Westchester, challenging Westchester's policy of blocking low-income housing development in the county.
That's
Okay?
not the whole thing.
No, it's not.
That is what the Westchester, may I finish? That is what the Westchester plan came out of. It came out of an enforcement action brought by a fair housing group against the county of Westchester, okay? Because of its racist policies in terms of blocking. Let me finish, ma'am.
Every time you call us a
you had your
racist,
chance.
I'm going to interrupt you, because we're not supposed to be
Mr.
calling
Chairman, could you please
names.
silence her?
Please, he's not calling you a racist, he's calling what was done in Westchester. The Westchester issue is not a sustainable communities grant, it is a separate action, it doesn't involve HUD, it has nothing to do with the sustainable communities program. But please, let's
Yes,
try
it
to
does.
avoid
That
language
is
like
incorrect.
That is
May I
incorrect.
respond? That is incorrect.
That is
Absolutely
incorrect.
incorrect.
Can we let him finish, please?
Go ahead.
So, and the Westchester plan, by the way, has nothing to do with economic development. It's not an economic development plan whatsoever. It is a housing lawsuit, okay? Now, when I attended the hearing at the Department of Administration, where I don't know if any of you were in the audience, there was a flyer going around about Agenda 21, and it was put out by the John Birch Society. Is anyone here from the John Birch Society?
No.
Well, that's what you were passing around. And for those of you who don't know, the John Birch Society led the campaign against the civil rights laws that were passed in the 1960s. So that pamphlet was floating around.
This is not what this is about.
Please, let's try to have some order here. Steve,
No, because basically
wrap up?
what you're telling, but the reaction to what I'm saying, and and the reaction to some of the other folks, clearly, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, clearly demonstrates that you are fearful of black and Hispanic people.
Stop it!
You are here.
I'm tired of this.
It's about the rights of the people of Rhode Island.
Yes! See,
You're crazy. You're batshit crazy.
All right.
I mean, you
Insulted everyone in this
You folks
room.
have no credibility.
It's about
You are a
individual
bunch of
rights.
extremists.
Yes.
You don't even understand
Individual
what this is
rights.
all about.
recognizing